So for everybody who this is your first time, we have two goals here. Number one, learn LinkedIn. Number two, have a good time. The one rule is, or the one like you can't do this is just don't be a troll. So pretty easy peasy. Today, I kind of want to talk about funnels. I think that's what everybody will want to focus on, but live is always priority. So everybody here is always the priority. So if there's anything that anybody wants to bring up, any challenges, questions, stumbled across something new that'd be helpful for the group, now is your time to shine.
How buggy has LinkedIn been for anybody this week? Oh, sorry, I was muted. How's the bug meter doing? I'm on expert forums and they're saying they're just having all kinds of issues. And frankly, I was trying to find a trend, and it's just they're all just bitching about how buggy LinkedIn is in general. I've had a few issues, but it hasn't seemed so big to me. But these are folks that do a lot of posting, on these forums, their outreach and stuff, and their reach isn't this, or their post didn't do that and stuff.
So they're more talking about newsfeed algorithm stuff.
Yeah, not the kind of stuff we go. Folks like us, we tend to go through the inbox a little bit, a little bit more. They don't, but they're really fuming. So
I have not. I've not. We've been sinking a lot of time into business development, and I've been not spending a whole lot of time posting these days. So probably not the best person to talk to on that. Anybody else?
ProFinder stuff. ProFinder's up 50% over what it was last week. So we saw it slide down a bit in March and start to climb back up, and now it's really starting a nice.
Wow. That's awesome. So Mary, you're going to laugh about this. I was doing a recording about ProFinder last week. While I was doing the recording, I set up a meeting with the guy from ProFinder. I thought that was kind of funny. That just never happens. So using your pro tips.
There you go.
Jer, it's been a while. I'm so glad you're on here. So Jer, we kind of already got started preamble here before we get into funnels. Any priority always goes live. So anything happening in your neck of the woods?
No, not really that I have to share right now. So we can go on.
Okay, cool. So like I said, there's a few bugs. I have noticed that I said like just a couple minutes ago, we haven't been doing a lot with stuff in the newsfeed lately, but I had noticed that videos, it seems like videos weren't performing as well as other post types these days. So when video first came out, I felt like it was extra juicy. And then I'm finding more like your image posts having more reach. I don't know. I'm more concerned about conversions to sales funnel, but just something to think about. Also, there's that dwell time. There's that dwell time thing. Did you guys read through that at all?
Yeah.
I think that's probably worth spending a couple minutes on. Anybody want to take the reins and talk about that? No? Okay, so I will. Judy, I saw your eyes moving around. Are you familiar with what we're talking about?
Yes, yeah. I was agreeing with you about the videos. I think the videos views have gone down, and then I did read about dwell time. I'd be interested to know what a difference it makes, that dwell time.
Yeah.
How will they measure? You just go like they've stopped in one place for a certain time.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's a really good metric. How long does somebody sit on something? Like how long does someone watch a video? How, I mean, that's it's not click and go, but click and read sort of. So the fact that they can gather that data, I think, is wonderful. I mean, they have the power to do that. So I think I'll have a document open for days until I get to it. So I'm going to really mess with their algorithm.
That's kind of what I was wanting to talk about too. So for everybody who didn't read the engineering blog, what a fun read.
What a fun read, yeah.
Such a fun read. So to kind of break it down for everybody, if you haven't read that, it's basically the material that you share in the newsfeed. There is a metric that they're measuring called dwell time. And the idea is it's measuring a non-action. So a like or a heart or an insightful or a comment or a share, those are actions. But there's also a whole category of non-actions that are indicator of people appreciating your content. So how do you measure a non-action? Because they're not doing anything. They're measuring dwell time. So they are scrolling through the newsfeed, or they're maybe on the standalone link. And then how much time is that person on your material. So that's dwell time. That's what that article that they released was about. You can probably find it if you Google it and read more on it. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious how it plays and everything, and if you can manipulate it. I mean, if you want to go down that road.
I'll bet you can manipulate it. But think about this: not just how long are you on something, but I'll sit on something literally for a week, or I've got it bookmarked, and it's going to look like it's wide open. I think they're probably going to do something with, if you just sit and never scroll, they're going to factor that in. Maybe they can see whether you scroll or not. I don't know if can they. It's cached locally, you know. So I'm maybe they just say, you know, after a half an hour, it's called unlimited, and they just cut it off at that and give you the max score at 30 minutes or something, maybe.
They probably give a certain amount of points per, if I could use that language, probably give a certain amount of points per user and then cap it off for that very
yeah, that's
reason.
my point.
And
then I'll bet they would cap it, or we
measure
would really mess with their stuff.
Yeah, and then measure it quantitatively for lots of users, is my guess. I'm kind of wondering, so you know how pods have gotten really big lately, where it's like the auto commenting and groups that share? I'm kind of wondering if they'll be able to incorporate that into what they're doing. I think that the really big thing here would be is if dwell time is just in the newsfeed, or if dwell time is also on the standalone link for that post. You know, you can get the link for the post and it's just all by itself, not in the newsfeed.
I'm bringing up a new partner who's bringing 10 clients on board. It's going to go to 20. I mean, it's big stuff. It's got everything all figured out and stuff. And hey, Scott. So what he does when they bring a new client up is the existing clients all endorse 50 skills, like all this stuff, do all of this stuff. And it says 37, 37, 37, 37, 37, 37, 37 for all their skills. You know, it's like, kind of like,
Yep.
But that's part of their typical onboarding to get so many this and that for folks and stuff. And I'm going to pick that up for them. So I think that kind of falls into this place. There's no dwell time on that at all. I mean, milliseconds of dwell time. You know?
Yeah.
They may actually open up and look at something and open, you know, they go to it and like it as opposed to liking it from here. So it's actually a view instead of a like. Do you know what I mean by that?
I do.
If you view the article instead of just liking it from the preview.
Yeah. I also wonder if you have Scott, since you just jumped on to catch up, we're talking about, before we get into funnels, the dwell time thing that the engineering blog just rolled out. I'm curious if you have you can take a post and add it as featured content on your profile. I wonder if when someone's looking at your profile, if dwell time will be included on there as well. I haven't, does anybody know? I haven't read anything on this definitively. Are we just kind of guessing here? Yeah, okay.
Well, I reposted the article on my page, and I went through all 4 authors, and 2 of them accepted my connection request. Siddharth Ganji, I sent him a connection request based on the research that he did, and who else? Johnson Jia responded to me also. So I thought it was really interesting enough to where I contacted all 4 authors of the article. But if anybody wants to find it, they can go to my profile and go under posts.
Yeah, you can throw it in. You can throw that link in the chat if you want to also, Alfred.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm
still have it open.
I'm kind of curious if it's just if they're just looking at it in the newsfeed, or if it's a standalone thing. That to me is a really big difference, because if it's only measuring it in the newsfeed, that's going to be a lot harder for people to try and, you know, mess with, because you have to get it in the newsfeed. You know, it's up to the algorithm to decide which posts are going in there. But if it's a standalone, if they're measuring it on standalone, I feel like that's really easy to manipulate. Just thoughts. Scott, do you have something to say? I just saw you get ready.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to figure out the engagement thing right now. I mean, I've been publishing more regularly. I've, over the last 6 weeks, I've taken my SSI from about a 78 to an 85, and that's been entirely on the feed engagement. But still not getting any kind of, any kind of traction on my articles, even though I know they're,
kick-ass article too, Scott. Your article on the VA was kick-ass. One of the best articles I've seen.
Thanks. Thanks.
Everybody should look at that if you work with VAs at all. He's got a really great VA article and featured media on his profile.
But yeah, still, I'm my concern about the dwell time thing is that it will create even more of a power curve than there is already, because I don't know if those of you all are familiar with what I mean by the power curve, but basically visibility begets visibility.
Yeah.
And so, if you've noticed the phenomenon that you tend to see the same 20 or 30 or 40, 50 people posting content and getting 100 comments, on it, and it's mediocre content. And but yeah, it's like kind of once they've broken through, they just keep getting visibility on anything they push. So
yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying to work on trying to crack that nut of how to break into that. So
yeah. So once you reach a point where your posts already have a lot of visibility, if dwell time is now measured, now you're just now also having a lot more dwell time because your stuff's just going farther.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, should we get into funnels? Boom, 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 boom. All right. So what happens when you don't have a funnel, or if you don't have an action plan? In my experience, it's you either don't do anything or you do the wrong thing, or maybe it's just so inconsistent that it never pays off. So I wanted to talk about funnel stuff. And obviously you can get really, really complicated, really complex funnels. Some people are connect 2 messages done. Some people bring in Twitter and content and email and all kinds of stuff. So I feel like it's almost like the sky's the limit. So anybody I've got a PDF that I have. It's kind of just maps some stuff out, but I don't want to hog the show. Does anybody want to share before I do that? Anybody want to share some insights?
Let me share a couple things that I've learned. Okay. I'm using 5 automation tools. Okay. I know, Isaac, you're doing everything manual and stuff, and then, tools, are designed to just do manual things better in some cases, but they do some things better than humans do sometimes, like scraping data. You're not going to have a human scrape 15 data fields on every profile, are you?
Totally.
Not going to do it. So there is some little plus to it. There's no personalization on a step-by-step basis, but you can create a sequence that's just with one of my tools over here, and only one of them actually. You can create a sequence of dissimilar actions. So we can visit a profile, we can follow a profile, we can send a connection request, we can send a message, we can endorse a skill. And I can set up a sequence that has every one of those in it, quite frankly. All fully automated, 4 days apart, 7 days apart, 2 weeks apart. Mm-hmm. And so you invite someone to connect perhaps, then you send a connection request 2-3 days later, then 2 weeks later, you send a content-based article, maybe do that again. And then you might endorse a skill, something like that, and then maybe a call to action message. So this is a sequence that I program into the systems. And what makes it unusual is the fact that there's different things. The endorse is something different, okay? The other tools don't visit, they don't endorse, they just send messages and connection requests and have a beautiful inbox where your data is in a separate inbox where it's separated out, which is beautiful. And then they scrape data. But there's no one-on-one personalization. So I'm trying a one-on-one personalization program this week. And with my phone here, I'm going to go through these 20, 30 people in my trial, and I'm going to send a video. I'm pushing a button. I got my little thing here, and I did a couple this morning, and it's just a 30-second video to someone that just as me saying, how are you holding up? Got the guy background. I got my T-shirt on, my cool hair. And just very personal, and it just goes for 30 seconds or so, and you just literally it just, there's a little, you practice on your friends. Okay, I was practicing on friends this morning, so you're not looking down and up and all that kind of stuff. But I'm trying that as well, and that's fully manual. I just thought I'd share that. But the dissimilar actions was the big part of a sequence, because I saw your sequence on what you sent out today. I read what you sent out today. So I just thought I'd share that.
Yeah.
Along those lines, I just want to share that I recently had someone for the first time send me an audio message on LinkedIn. And I had not even known that you could do that. And it was such a pattern interrupt for me from the usual engagement. You know, I mean, you know how much, I mean, I do at least a dozen to 2 dozen one-on-one messages a day in LinkedIn, and have been since they launched. And it's the first time I've ever had anyone send it. So I'll just tell you, it really, really stands out. It really, really stood out and really kind of raised that person in my mind.
Yeah, Mary and I had this conversation on Friday, Mike, about doing this little 30-second video in an email. I got this probably a month ago, and it really made something stand out as opposed to just a text message. So I agree with you 100%. And keeping it to 30 seconds got my attention enough. It's that little bit of it wasn't an elevator speech, it was just kind of an introduction. And it made more the H to H factor, human to human factor, as opposed to just a bunch of type. So great idea. I like that, Mike. It was very effective when I received it.
It's the dissimilar actions, the interrupter, like Scott talked about there.
It has to be personalized, though. It must be personalized. If it is completely generic, it has a negative effect.
Yeah, definitely.
I got a video from someone today in an email. It's to all my LinkedIn friends and stuff. Sorry. Yeah, just like Scott said there. But this literally, you can hammer these out. You can do in an hour. You can do 20 or 30 of these. 25 probably, just like that. So I'm going to give it a try. And the audio was, Scott, you'll love video. That if you like audio, you love video. Puts a big postage stamp too with a play button right on your face. So make sure your face starts out with a smile. That's what I was testing this morning.
That's actually totally an important thing, because the first frame pulls is the thumb, right? And so if you're kind of like getting ready and you upload it, you might look like they don't want to watch it.
It's not like YouTube where the thumbnail comes out of the middle somewhere. You can determine what it is. And just hold your hand on it. I did like 5 of these this morning. Just hold your hand on the button, so get everything just right, because the stop button is the same spot. So just keep your hand right on the button while you're doing it, and just push and stop just like this. It was pretty cool though. I'm expecting some good responses back.
So audio messages, video messages, they're good actions that you can take throughout your funnel. A quick note on those 2 things: when you do send an audio or video message, the recipient is notified of the media type. So if I send a video message, which by the way you cannot do in the Sales Nav inbox, the audio and video message is only
it's only a LinkedIn
on
inbox,
which is a bummer, but it is what it is. But the recipient gets the notification that says, Mike sent you a video message. So it doesn't just say view message. It says that you sent a video message. And I've had people message me back going, it said that you sent me a video message. I just had to watch it because I was so curious. And I think right now that kind of activity is, it's like novel, it's new, and it piques people's curiosity. I think that you'll see right now a higher engagement. And when people get more familiar with it later and it gets abused later, you're going to have less engagement. So it's a unique window right now, I think.
Isaac, have you done attachments?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of attachments. Mike, what I do with the video thing, and we're kind of straying away from funnels. I'd rather talk about what you can do at different stages.
These are actions in a funnel, though. I mean, this is technically, just.
So what I like to do is I'll use this setup here, like this camera, this mic. I'll record it, and I'll just airdrop it with Bluetooth to my phone, and then use the mobile app. So then I can get a better production quality as well. Does it make sense? Yep. Somebody, that might have been actually, I heard that from somebody else. I just stole it. It was probably Judy Hayes or someone. Yeah.
So you put the video in Dropbox and you just pull it up from Dropbox on your phone, can't you?
Well, we don't, not Dropbox, AirDrop. It's probably Mac lingo. It's where you send the file through.
I got to figure out AirDrop then. I'll by next week. Never mind. Never mind. I'm all Mac, so I'll figure it out. Thanks.
Yeah, it's built in. Yeah, if you just it's pretty easy to figure it out. Yeah, you got it.
The last word on video, the max is 4 minutes. I've learned that. I sent Isaac an educational video that I made for his kids.
Yes.
And I had to break it down into 3 segments because it's a 4-minute video max, just so you guys know.
Yep. Thanks, Alfred, for that again, by the way. There are times where I think you could get away with a more generic message, not so much generic, but targeted to a certain group of people. And for example, like when somebody signs up for our daily videos, their contact info gets sent using Zapier to dedicated Google Contacts account. And then I import those contacts, and I know where they're all doing a handshake with my brand. I'll add them to my network, and when they accept, I can send them a video that says, "Hey, I hope you're enjoying the daily videos." And for me, it's really generic. For them, they're like, "Whoa, that's kind of." They know I'm on the daily videos, So I think that there can be times where you can reuse a video as well, if you know where they're at in your funnel. All right.
Now to the real final presentation, huh?
Let's see here. Oh, that's funny. Did somebody just, when I said that, signed up? Was that somebody here? Okay.
Albert.
Hang on 1 second. I'll share my screen.
One more subscriber.
That's funny. All right, so this is not going to be the most comprehensive thing in the world, but it'll work. All right, do y'all see that? Yeah, okay. I don't know, this is just the way that my brain works. As I kind of break a funnel down into the stages that people naturally go through. So in my mind, there's essentially it's a pre-connect, right? We're not yet connected. I've targeted them. They're good potential leads. I don't know for sure if they're a qualified lead, but they're targeted, but they're still pre-connect. And then in my mind, it goes from pre-connect to the connect action to you're in a dialogue to see where their company or where they're at in the sales cycle. And then it goes to part of that, and part of that's the relationship building. And then it goes into maybe call to action, and then it goes into top of mind. And I think that in top of mind is kind of like, it keeps on going until they maybe get a different job, or, they're no longer a lead anymore. So that's kind of just how I think about it. So like for pre-connect engagement, Mike, this is what you were saying before. So you've got your targeted list. There's a bunch of things that you can do before you connect with someone that can help bring up your accept rates, because it's just creating multiple touch points. So there could be a profile view. Maybe you view the profile while you're getting their recent activity. Maybe you view the profile while you're going to send the connection request. Maybe you view the profile for a handful of reasons. The profile view can trigger notification. That's one touch point. You can grab the recent activity, comment on it, like genuinely. I feel like that's a good idea. Another touch point, you can do that before you engage, post, article, whatever. You can follow them all before you connect, right? And it's up to you, how complicated you want to do that for touch points before you actually send the connect. Any other, you could scrape their profile and guess their work email and send them an email before you send a connection request. Any other pre-connect things that you all have experienced or done? You could also hop over to Twitter. Oh, hey, remind me, do you get someone's Twitter info before you connect, or is that only after, like, email?
Yeah, you do.
I feel like it's before. Yeah, so you could also hop over to Twitter and follow them on Twitter and do the same kind of thing there if they have that associated, because Twitter is one of the social media like pre options on your profile. So you'll see Twitter in more than some other things. Any other pre-connect engagement you guys have ever done or experienced?
One of the things that I do, I reach out to a large number of prospects because I work with freelance creatives, and there's just so many of them, and it's a long nurture cycle before they would be ready to hire someone to help them with business. So I just view a lot of profiles, and I wait for them to, I get like 10%, 20% view back, and that's my trigger for then sending out the connection request. So there's a timely follow-up when they viewed my profile to say, hey, would you like to connect? But it does leave me with a lot of maintenance of so many prospects in my CRM that are keeping track of it all. Gets to be a problem.
Yeah, Eric, are you using normal LinkedIn or
you're talking about would be the visiting that Eric's talking about would be a typical case of an automation tool.
Yeah.
You visit, so many a day and you only get 10% back. Well, the 90% that you wasted your time manually visiting out there could be a tool doing that instead of you doing it.
I use that. I keep track of, I can grab the profile info, shove it into Airtable, and then I just open up those tabs with a tab opener. So I don't actually spend all that time.
Yeah, it's kind of that same thing. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I get what you mean.
Yeah. Eric, you're an Airtable guy?
Yeah, I love Airtable.
Might have to poke your brain a little bit and then maybe have you share on that, because there are so many applications with LinkedIn there, right? I think, isn't Airtable one of the fundamental, like, I don't even know the right word, but isn't that what a lot of tools use, is Airtable to grab stuff from LinkedIn? And isn't that on the back end?
I don't know.
I have
scenes. I just copy my son created a little scraper that just grabs the profile, just the name and URL. I paste that into Airtable, and then I do some manual stuff to keep track of when I viewed profiles. And that sort of.
Cool. Very cool. All right. That's another juicy topic for another time, Airtable.
Yeah.
So there's the pre-connect engagement things that you can do. Trying to think of other stuff. One thing with the Twitter bit, I feel like you almost need to have a dedicated for this Twitter, especially if you're going to be following them, because all of the people that I'm going to be prospecting, I would love to do that handshake on Twitter, but I really don't care what they post on Twitter. You know what I mean? And I don't want to junk it up. I don't want to mess up my Twitter feed. So you might want to do that. And if you do, or if you bring in other social platforms, it's nice to have your profile banner be the same, your headshot be the same, your name be the same, so that there's continuity when you're doing those multiple touch points.
Yeah, Isaac, if you're actually reading your stream on Twitter, you're using Twitter wrong. You got to use lists, man. You use lists and I mean, I when I start up Twitter, if there's something that's at the top of my feed, great, but I use lists for engagement. I have probably 30 or 40 different lists on Twitter based on what I'm trying to do, what I'm trying to focus on.
That's the future topic here.
But
I
don't read streams.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that means.
What, using the lists?
Yeah, you'll have that's another time. So lists could be a way to get around not feeling like your Twitter stream's all junked up.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
I've got 35,000 followers, and I follow nearly 30,000 people.
Wow. That's fantastic.
But I have lists of anywhere from 10 to 50 to a couple of hundred people, and 98% of my engagement on Twitter is through lists, not the main feed.
Is that built? Can I do that on the app? What?
Yeah.
Shut the front door. I'm on LinkedIn too much.
Yeah, and with TweetDeck or any kind of social media management tool, it's even better because you can create columns. So I use Mav Social, and so in Mav Social, I've got columns for my favorite lists or whatever I'm focused on right now.
That's pretty legit. That's very cool.
We should have Scott present on that in the future.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
Yeah. So what you could do is you could get your list your pre-connect list and maybe just grab their profile information, put it into a spreadsheet, sort by Twitter users URL, and then plug that into something that would add it to the right, follow them, engage, add it to the right list.
Scott's really careful who goes on a list. It's not everybody in every way. He kind of, I believe he kind of handpicks who goes on a list.
Yes, they are highly curated.
Yeah, because what you can dilute your brand, right? If you're just kind of going for exposure.
Right. But that's why I don't worry about, I'll follow anybody. Yeah. So.
Yeah, totally. All right, cool. So you send the connect. Obviously, there's a message involved there that should not suck. Right? If they don't connect, you could kind of circle back and do some more that if they don't accept, you might wait a week or two and then circle back and do some more stuff, right? Like they don't connect, view the profile. You could engage with their recent activity again. Maybe unfollow, refollow. Does that work? Did they get a second notification? I've never done that. I'm just thinking here.
I don't know.
Just curious. Okay.
I don't think they get a notification. It does work. We do that often. We'll pull back the invitation and then wait a couple of weeks and send it again.
Yeah. 3 weeks, right? Is that still the limit, I believe?
Something like that.
Yeah. We just a note on that. It was last week. One of our clients, somebody sent a message. It was one of those things where it was just the right time. That 2% of just the right message at just the right time. They were looking for their service. And then they said in the message, by the way, thanks for liking my last couple of posts and our company page post. They actually said that. And so in their mind, for us, it didn't take a lot of extra time to do a little bit of engagement. And in their mind, they were grateful that we were helping their company message go a little bit farther. So they appreciated that. So
they were notified of a company page follow?
Not a follow, but it was a like or a comment.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. And so in that situation, I'm guessing they were a page admin, right? Because if you just follow a page, if you're an employee at a page, I don't think you don't get any kind of notification. But if you're page admin, I believe that's different.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So something to think about there.
Where does that come in? I'm not aware where that someone followed your company page notification happens.
Not a follow, but if I went to your company page and I commented or liked a company page post, I believe page admins are notified, not of a follow, but of an engagement.
Where does that notification happen? Scott, do you know where that?
It's just in your LinkedIn notifications. I don't know if there's a way to turn on an email notification of it, but it's definitely.
It happens so infrequently that I never see it.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's probably it. Okay.
Yeah, and maybe that's actually nice if it's infrequent for most people, because company page content doesn't really get a ton of engagement, right? So there's not a lot of noise there. Yeah,
just about zero.
So that might be something to think about. But and again, a tricky thing here is you don't know for sure who's a page admin, so it's kind of a crapshoot, right? Yes, Bruce. Oh, he's waving his hand. What's up?
Quick question, guys. Well, you guys were talking about audio, personalized audio and video, which is very attractive to me. It's in my swing zone because this is my platform of choice. Thank you very much. Can you do it without being connected to the person?
No, you cannot, unless they accept an in-mail or they have an open profile.
Okay.
And I believe the in-mail or the open profile, because functionally they're really the same thing, I don't think you can send a video or voice message until they've accepted either the connection request or replied to or accepted the in-mail. So that has to be that line of communication there.
In 30 seconds or less, because I know we're going down the funnels, which is, I love this visual, Isaac. Any top 2 things to do to get people to, aside from having a sexy profile, got that, I hope, to get them to connect with you in a few sentences or even one sentence?
Are you talking about what should your connection request message be?
That really works, that you guys have had traction.
I mean, I feel like that it's so contextual. It's a combination of a few things. It's a combination of who are you, who are they, and how much do you know about each other, right? So you might even now don't like be loosey goosey with this, but if you come across someone's profile and they're in your target market and maybe they genuinely have an awesome article that you liked, you might like the article, comment on it, and then send them a connection request and say, I love that article. I really appreciated it. But it should have been genuine, because people can sniff out that fake stuff really fast. So, but yeah, I feel like it's better for people, Bruce, to be told, learn how to learn instead of what scripts are working today. Any other thoughts on that?
I'm starting campaigns for a client today where we're not using any connection request message at all. Yeah, and I had to switch her from one platform to another because the platform she was on required a connection request message. And so I switched her to another platform, and we're starting it today. Studies have shown on some of these other expert platforms out here that if it's not a personalized message, if it's a canned message, the connection rate is the same, whether it's blank or it's a one-size-fits-all message. That's what they're saying on the forum there.
I have totally heard that. We've done some tests, not enough to where I'd be confident where I'm on one side of the fence or the other. My strong suspicion there is it's who are you connecting with? Because I feel like it's how does somebody view the opportunity of knowing you, right? So if you are a freelancer, or if I'm a freelancer, I'm going to accept every connect because it might be an opportunity. If I'm a small business owner, I'll probably be like, yes, let them in. But if I'm C-level and I'm really busy and I know who's who, I'm going to be, and this is just me, I'm going to be less likely to accept a message from Joe Schmo, and I'll probably be less interested in checking out their profile too. But that's just a suspicion. I don't have any hard data.
If it's customized, it's another whole thing,
Yeah.
I see you worked at Chevron and Exxon and love dogs. You got me or something. But when it says I'm looking to connect to C-level executives in the such and such an industry out here, you're better off in some cases maybe just have no message at all if you're going to send something like that.
Yeah.
People are getting a little tuned out to the programmatic connection request that says, I'm help senior folks like you solve these problems.
Mm-hmm.
That it would fit to any one of 100,000 people, but if you mention one little tweaky thing, that's something else. So I'm just testing it. I'll have more. In this case here, she's in Charlotte, and we used the custom connection request, hit everyone in Charlotte. Now we're going back to Charlotte again, and this time no message, because if they didn't connect with a message last time,
sure.
they're not going to like our generic message this time any better. Is the thought. So
if you're not going to send a message with the connection request, I feel like your headshot needs to be awesome, and your headline is almost your message.
That's it. That's right. That's exactly right. Your headline is your message.
Yep.
That's exactly right. You might even customize your message during this period a little bit because your headline is your message. That's a really good point, Isaac.
So if someone does not accept the connect, though, you can do a replay. We didn't talk about in-mail. So if you do pay for your membership on LinkedIn, if they do not accept the connect, you can send an in-mail if you feel like they're definitely worth using one on. So that's the thing that you can do as well. Or you can withdraw, reinvite. When we've done withdraw and reinvite, we haven't seen a lot of cleaning up the mess there. I feel like it's a small percentage of people accept after when we go back and do that. Anybody have any experience there? I'm going to just guess here and say 15%.
I'd take 15%. I'd be happy with that.
Excuse me, 15% that sounds about right, Isaac.
Okay.
But yeah, because our outreach is so targeted, that 15% is worth going back and trying again.
Yep. Yeah, and you know what we do, Susan, and everybody else here too. But if you're doing that, when we invite someone from SalesNav, we tag them with invited, and then when we withdraw after a time, you can search using that tag. second and third degree connections. And then if you've organized your prospecting by lead lists, you can also, if you like, we do it by week in the year. So like week 22, week 21, you can go back and see who in that list, second and third degree connection, invited pending. You know you've sent them an invite, you know it's still pending, you know you've withdrawn it, and then you can reinvite them really easily. Does that make sense?
I don't have anything to do with the implementation, so
I'm
making a note to pass it on. It sounds like it sounds like it'll make it easier.
Yeah, like is that Mindy's wheelhouse?
Every time I try to use tags, I mean, I tried, I passed it on to try what you guys were talking about, tagging everybody in the list, and then having your clients go through and untag them or whatever.
Scrub 'em, yeah.
Yeah, that got a little unwieldy, but we are using tags to let people know whether a researcher has looked at this person or not, and that does help.
Yeah,
so that was a good tip.
Yeah, one thing with this is more. I should have brought this up a minute ago. This is more like with the pre-connect. We used to have a monthly target group of people that we're going to put through the funnel. And we've more recently, this is more as we've also brought in what I would call tasteful email as well. So not a sales pitch email, but a conversational email to the no replies and no accepts. But we need it to be fresh. We need the timing to be right, and we need the job to be accurate. So instead of breaking things into a 1 month bucket, we break them into a week by week bucket. And then you'll notice it says, who has a different job, like who's changed jobs recently. It's usually a significant number. It's usually it's a significant number. And so I find that doing things weekly, you get less out of date information, right? And then if you're going to circle back and send an email or whatever, if you've broken your outreach down by the week, you have a lot more specific time frame that you can reference as well, right? Like, does that make sense? Cool. So we'll do, and this isn't going to be for everybody, but there's like 52 weeks in the year. We have a lead list for every week of the year, and we have people in each week. So week 1, week 2, week 3. And then if we're going to pull the invites, or sorry, not pull the invites because you can't do that from there. If we're going to update the tag or unsave people or move them to wherever, or send them an email or grab their info to do whatever, we go to that week and we know that they were invited in that week. So anyways, okay.
Quick question for you, Isaac.
Yep.
With untagging, that's something you have to do like profile by profile, right? You can't, there's no batch tag stuff that I'm missing.
Yeah, totally. So I don't know if there is a
little bit. You can select all from a page and tag 25 at a time on a page. I mean,
you can't untag them.
Correct. That is absolutely true.
No, you just delete the tag altogether. If you
also really one quick question: has anybody else encountered a bug where you can't see the tags?
Oh my gosh, yes, yes! I'm so angry about that.
Yeah,
so angry. Jer and I are pretty sure that it's a conspiracy to drive that LinkedIn is just dragging its feet to fix it to get people to use lead lists more than tags. Because, just a guess there. Just a guess. Jer, are you still on?
Yeah, and on the other hand, they're also fumbling around with the list. There are certain people I can't save the people into a list anymore. And there I can use the tags, and where I can use the tags, I can't use the save to list anymore.
It's limited to what, 250 people per list or something like that, which is a big, I just can't seem to find an organizing principle that scales very well.
Yeah. Eric, what you might be able to do is use a temporary tag, view that temporary tag, and then like if you're looking at the page, select all, apply where they want to go, and then delete the temporary tag. Mm-hmm. But that might get what you want. It might not. Still pain in the butt. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad I'm just not missing something.
You're not alone. What you can do is this is kind of I don't know why it's like this, but you can bulk unsave people as well. Mm-hmm. So the thing there is you can't use the normal lead search. You have to go to lists, and then at the top in the new user interface it says my saved leads. You click that. And it looks like the normal search, but you're only looking within your saved leads. And if you select all, you can do 25 at once, unsave.
Yeah.
But that option's only there if you're viewing your saved leads.
And that's why your lists, you just have lots and lots of lists. IBS is one of the things.
Yeah, well, we do, it's usually about 5 weeks rolling. Because I don't care right now about people from January. They're kind of like, they maybe will get rolled in later. Yeah.
Eric, one thing to keep in mind is you can only have 1,500 total leads with a professional account.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's 250 a piece, well, that's 250 times 6 and you're done. If you go to Team Edition, I happen to be on Team Edition, you get 5,000 leads. And that scales pretty well. It's still 250, 250, 250, but you can have part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and kind of go on that way when you got 5,000. Right. It's a lot of runway there.
Yeah. There's no limit on tags though, right? Nobody has encountered any limit. It's just hard to use them.
Correct.
And they're probably, are they going to use it? Are they going to ever do like exclude tags like they do on some of those other filters?
I don't know, man.
We've talked about, right, Isaac? They will.
We've talked about that a bunch of times. Honestly, Eric, I hope they do, but my suspicion is they won't.
Yeah.
My suspicion is they won't because they want to drive people to use lists, because lists is where they're investing their money. List is where they're adding the features. List is related to paid, for like paid ads, and shared for higher account levels. So I hope, but I'm not holding my breath. Yeah. We actually have, in the last 2 months, migrated to a largely list base, because once that bug hadn't been fixed for about a month, I'm like, one for reporting reasons, like we had to like have 1 month of way weird reports where I'm just like, hey clients, this is going to be a little funky because of this tag bug. And then in month 2, I was like, no, we got to find a different system. So we've switched to list for that reason. So
it would seem logical that would happen, because we're seeing the circle / appear on many of the other filters there. You know, that's how you do the do not send list, is you add people to a lead list and circle / it and call it do not send. But I thought we would have seen it by now, Isaac. So I think I'm leaning a little bit more towards you there. I had hope months ago, and I have less hope now.
Seems like as soon as LinkedIn becomes a reasonable possible CRM, break it so it doesn't work.
You use what you can and be grateful for the money you can make between here and there. So once someone accepts the connect, you can add them to your CRM, right? I feel like there's 2 places, well, maybe 3 places. You can add people to CRM. You can add them right when you connect, or you could add them, I guess you could add them whenever you want. It makes more sense to me to add them to your CRM either when they convert to your sales funnel. So they want an email. So they say on LinkedIn, I want an email, or I want a phone call, I want a meeting. They're opting in on LinkedIn. You can add them there. Or if you are bringing in email as well, you'd usually add them to your CRM at that time so that you can keep all of your data together. You're like, up until probably a year ago, we were adding people as we connected, and then, oops, my Slack is going off. Sorry, let me turn that off. But what I discovered is part of what I was saying earlier, people get different jobs. And so I would rather them update their own work history on LinkedIn so that my CRM is up to date. And does that make sense? So jobs change, companies change. You might have someone in your CRM, but it's 5 years old and they don't even have that email anymore. And then you just have a bunch of junk information in your CRM. So I'm leaning towards adding them to CRM either when you send the email or they opt in, that kind of thing.
So Eric Jaquith is not on the call, but do you remember Eric Jaquith with Zap Info?
Mm-hmm.
Zap Info is working with me to add some features because I squawk a lot. And I got them to add a feature and they're really happy they did. They love me now. You're on a profile, you zap it, you click the little zap button, it can go right to Pipedrive.
I use that. Boom. I love that. I love it so much, Mike. Thank you. I would love for them to be able to add multiple Pipedrive API options.
Yes, I want to be able to add them in as a lead instead of just as a contact and an association. But again, hey, that's a big deal. Boom, right on in like that.
It's so fast.
But you can't edit before it goes in. You got to edit once it gets there. If you've got a list of stuff, you can pre-edit and then send the whole list on over, all cleaned up. But Zap Info and Pipedrive are sweet, man. Sweet.
Yeah, you can't map the fields, right? With that.
Yeah, the API does that. Yeah, the API does that.
Yeah.
But I bring in. No, hold on. I don't think that's necessarily exactly right, Isaac. Let me find out more. Okay, while we do that, I owe you an answer to that. But I'm sucking in like 100 fields.
I believe. Oh, see you, Susan. I believe that I was trying to do first name, last name, and a couple other things, and I only saw a custom field for the LinkedIn profile. But I don't want to get too into the weeds.
Yeah, we need to find. That's a new feature. We need to find out more about it. But that's the kind of stuff we all want, right? From LinkedIn to where we want to keep it. And there'll be a HubSpot version of that coming and other stuff too. But since I squawked about Pipedrive, there it is. So
yeah. So we tend to not add people to CRM unless there's email involved, because the CRM is sending the email, or until they opt in on LinkedIn to whatever their call to action is. So someone, let's see here. We're going to run out of time. Yep.
So obviously everybody else is up to speed on this, but how are you getting people to opt in on LinkedIn?
Oh, this is more like a two-way conversation through messaging. So I might send you a message. We have a dialogue, and you say, yeah, send me your calendar. Yes, email me this, or yeah, let's do a phone call. That would be the opting in.
Okay.
Yep. Oh man. Okay, we're 3 minutes before the hour, so let's do this. We're kind of at accept the connect. Let's pause here and pick this up next week, because there's still all kinds of stuff, right, that you can do once you connect. Good stuff. Any final thoughts on the pre-connect, sending the connection request, CRM integration, in-mail, that kind of thing? All right, I'm gonna stop.
I'll throw one thing out. I think Facebook plays a role in here. In fact, that's the reason I have Facebook in my book. That's at the editor, by the way. My book is at the editor. But you can find out a lot about people on Facebook that you can't find out on LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't have to be a friend with them on Facebook to go look at their timeline photo and see that, they were out celebrating a barbecue this weekend, and that LinkedIn message could say, I could smell the barbecue right now on your profile, something like that.
Yeah.
And
that's really true.
And it's the timeline on Facebook. And I pulled my book back and added 50 more pages. And part of it is because of this. That I think that particular piece of business intelligence, as we say, is more timely than you'd find out on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I agree. People don't share what they had for dinner. Not that I really care on LinkedIn, so thank God. But there is a bunch of extra info. It also depends on the privacy settings on Facebook, right? You won't be able to view it unless they've got that.
A little bit so. We're going to guess that most people don't know much about their privacy settings so that you can see much of it.
Yeah.
That would be a proper assumption.
And then you'd have to look and make sure the name and the city and the face matches, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Cool.
So you type Isaac Anderson in Kansas City in the window up there in Kansas City, and how many Isaac Andersons are there in Kansas City?
Just one. All right. Did you use the Zap Info has the search options? Have you messed with that at all for the Facebook?
No,
search?
but they're really powerful. They really are. And they do things, never mind, but they're really, really powerful. And they go beyond just LinkedIn. Their search stuff finds stuff all out there, not just in LinkedIn.
Yeah. Yeah. So that we could probably geek out for a while on bringing in personal information from multiple platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, onto your communication that's happening on LinkedIn to make it personalized. I just feel like that's what people want, is they want to be known. They want to truly be known.
I've had people say they're spooked. How did you know that? Kind of stuff.
Yeah,
how do you know about my children?
Yeah.
Gosh, don't post on Facebook about your children then.
Yeah, no, that's totally valid. That's totally, and part of that I think is where someone is in the country as well. Some parts of the country are more family, privacy. Some people are more whatever. You talk to somebody about their personal life from New York, from Boston versus, Atlanta, it's it has got a different feel. So, all right, cool. Let's wrap it up. You guys are awesome. Good to have you all here. Hey, Farouk, I didn't get to introduce you. Sorry, you jumped on a little bit late. Good to have you on here. See y'all next week. We'll pick up with part 2.
See y'all next week.
All right. See ya.